So Argentina recently beat Algeria 3-0, and, on paper, absolutely perfect. Messi curled in this just brilliant free kick in the second half, and Lautaro Martinez was totally clinical, netting 2 goals. If you were just glancing at the box score, you'd probably think, wow, the reigning world champs haven't skipped a single beat. But hey, we're not here to just look at the box score, are we?
Which brings us to a really fascinating question. Can anyone actually stop a perfect team? Well, to figure that out, we have to look really closely at the final 20 minutes of that Algeria match. See, when Algeria pressed high up the pitch, Argentina's fullback started dropping deep. Messi, dealing with that pressure, naturally kind of drifted out of his defensive positioning, and suddenly Enzo Fernandez is forced into absolute overdrive, scrambling to cover these massive spaces that literally nobody else was covering. What you're seeing in those 20 minutes is the one vulnerability that no amount of Messi magic can fix.
So let's break this down. Act 1, the armor and the motivation.
Now, what makes this 2026 squad so incredibly formidable is an edge that goes way beyond just raw on-ball talent. Look, Argentina has had world-class talent for 20 years, but what they have right now is something far more dangerous. 17 out of the 26 players on this current roster survived the ultimate pressure cooker. They won it all in Qatar in 2022. They know exactly what it takes. They know what that suffocating pressure of a World Cup final actually feels like. And that shared, battle-tested experience, that's worth its weight in gold.
And then, of course, there's the captain, 38. Lionel Messi is 38 years old. He's already confirmed this is his 6th and absolutely final World Cup, which actually ties a record shared only with Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, he essentially completed football in 2022, right? He could have just stopped there. But the fact that he's here, playing in North America, chasing a back-to-back title that hasn't been achieved since 1962, well, that tells you everything you need to know about his drive.
It perfectly echoes this idea. He is not here to coast. He's here to make history that will never be made again. But let's be real for a second. Physically, he's just not the same player he was 4 years ago. By the time that 80th minute rolls around, you can really see how his game has evolved. It's smarter, it's highly conserved. He relies heavily on his positioning and elite technique rather than raw acceleration. And you know what? That evolution is simultaneously the sheer genius and the inherent risk of this entire team.
Moving on to Act 2, Scaloni's protective masterclass.
So manager Lionel Scaloni hasn't just thrown a team together around Messi, he has meticulously designed a system specifically built to protect him while still unleashing him as the ultimate weapon. It's basically a very precise tactical flowchart. You've got Rodrigo de Paul handling the heavy defensive duties, Enzo Fernandez is out there dynamically covering the open spaces, Alexis McAllister dictates the entire tempo of the game, and all of this heavily coordinated effort is designed for one single crucial purpose: to get the ball to Messi in the exact right positions at the exact right moments without asking him to drain his legs, tracking back on defense.
But as we all know, a system is only as good as its foundation. And Argentina's defensive spine is, well, it's terrifying. In goal, you have Emiliano Martinez. He is an absolute psychological weapon, a total master of mind games who, let's not forget, single-handedly saved that 2022 final in the penalty shootout. Then, right in front of him, Christian Romero and Lisandro Martinez form what is arguably the best international center-back pairing in the world right now. Romero brings this pure, unadulterated aggression, while Lisandro brings ice-cold composure. It's a perfect mix.
And as we move up the pitch, that midfield duo of McAllister and Enzo Fernandez, they are at their absolute physical and possession-based peaks. Then up top, you've got Lautaro Martinez coming off an incredible season as Serie A's top scorer. So when Messi pulls out wide to draw away defenders, Lautaro is right there as the clinical finisher striking the final blow. Honestly, it is the most effective striker-creator partnership in the entire tournament.
Which brings us to the turning point. Act 3. The unfixable fatal flaw.
Because for all this armor, and for all of Scaloni's tactical perfection, there is a crack. It's the one critical weakness that all of Messi's magic simply cannot overcome. Just look at this stark contrast. During the first 70 minutes against Algeria, Argentina showed total control in an elite press. But in those final 20 minutes, the shape loosened up, the fullbacks dropped deep, the pressing totally lost its bite. Now against Algeria, yeah, they got away with it. But against the absolute elite teams in the world, that 20-minute window of vulnerability is a literal death sentence.
And the ultimate enemy here isn't necessarily the opposition, it's age. Just look at the mileage on this core group. Messi is 38, Otamendi is 37,
Tagliafico is 33. Paredes is 31. This isn't just one veteran leading a bunch of young kids. This is a heavily aged core being asked to sustain an incredibly demanding style of play.
Now, I want you to factor in the grueling math of a 48-team tournament. We're talking about a potential 8 games, up from the usual 7. That's 8 deeply intense, highly physical matches, all played out in the brutal, suffocating heat of the North American summer. That physical toll is cumulative, guys, and it hits the absolute hardest right at the finish line.
And opponents? Oh, they know this. They know that when the 80th minute hits and legs start getting heavy, massive spaces are going to open up right behind those aging fullbacks. And, as brilliant as he is, Messi simply cannot be expected to sprint all the way back and defend the right back position while simultaneously trying to orchestrate the next offensive breakthrough. That right there is the fatal flaw.
Which perfectly sets up Act 4, the ultimate French test.
This whole situation puts Argentina on a massive collision course, because there are teams out there built specifically to exploit exactly what we just talked about. Teams like Spain and Germany, and particularly France. France possesses this absolutely devastating pace on the counterattack. You've got guys like Kylian Mbappé and Ousmane Dembélé operating in those exact wide spaces that Argentina's fullbacks are going to leave exposed. Let me tell you, a semifinal or final against France is the exact tactical nightmare that keeps Lionel Scaloni awake at night.
So where does all of this leave us? Well, here is our bold prediction based on everything we've just unpacked in this explainer. Argentina's unified defense, their perfectly controlled midfield, and that unmatched deep mental strength we talked about, that will guarantee them a spot. They are going to survive the gauntlet and they will reach the final at MetLife Stadium on July 19th, for sure.
But if they meet France in that final, trying to do what hasn't been done in 64 years and win back-to-back World Cups, that becomes a pure coin toss. It is a dead-even 50-50 split. It's ultimately going to come down to which version of France shows up and whether Argentina's veteran legs have exactly 90 minutes of magic left in them.
Which leaves us with this final thought. When the 80th minute of the World Cup final hits, and that brutal North American heat is drained every last ounce of energy, will the mental strength of having been there before overcome pure physical exhaustion? That is the ultimate question of this tournament. And in our next explainer, we're going to dive straight into exactly how Didier Deschamps and France are mathematically plotting to make sure the answer is a resounding no. You definitely won't want to miss it.